Parashat Ki Tavo will be read in its entirety this Shabbat as we celebrate the bar mitzvah of Ari Spokoni. He took upon himself to do 6 of the 7 aliyot, and with great effort, he has completed his task and ready to read the Parsha. The one he left without preparing is aliyah number 6, which is famously known as the Tochecha, is a Torah reading that is filled with calamities and curses to the people of Israel, and is read in an undertone. It's called the Tochecha. The Torah reading begins with bringing the first fruits of the priest in the temple, followed by a declaration that all tithes have been paid, and a prayer is be given as a blessing from God. Then Moses concludes what is called the Deuteronomic Code, and he charged all the commandments the people of Israel. Then the Torah gives instructions to set up large stones that mount a bow, on which all the words of the Torah are supposed to be written. The covenant ritual at Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal is then described, in which Moses, the Kohanim, and the Leviim offer blessings to the people of Israel for keeping the covenantal terms, the mitzvot. And then they turn towards the other mountain and offer all the curses or rebuke, a list of curses that will befall those who decide to break the covenant and not follow the mitzvot. And since the assumption is that all of us want to follow the commandments, is that we read the curses in an undertone, not to tempt the evil eye. And on the other hand, to realize that it's better not to know what those calamities are in case we do not follow the commandments. But it is very clear to me that Moses has impressed in the people of Israel the full power of the covenantal relationship. And now there is nothing but to fulfill the commandments and to live a life according to what God has prepared. There's no turning back. There's no going back to pre-Sinai and say, you know what, I'm here, the land is wonderful, but I'm not going to follow the commandments. We are bound to this commandment. And therefore, before us, we have the choice to continue and not to continue, to fulfill and not to fulfill, to practice and not to practice. And I believe that that is what we have even today. Judaism is a normative religion. We have said that many times. It has a particular set of rules, particular journey described for each one of us. But the decision is ultimately ours. We are the ones who are of our free will decide to follow or not to follow. The covenant is in front of us, but we decide whether we want to belong to that covenant or not. And I think that is a little bit of what we have left with at the end of this parasha. Yes, it's a big scare. We are all aware of that. But at the bottom is our decision, our capacity to decide whether this is worth living by or not. And I would say to you, it is. I would say to you that our traditions, our minhagim, our laws are there to enjoy, to live by. They're not difficult to fulfill. And I hope that this little bit of a scary Torah reading, in a sense, will give you the oomph to go forward and to continue practice our tradition the best we can do, at home, on Zoom, or here at Temple Bethel. Again, Yasher Koach to our Spokoni is going to be bar mitzvah this week. Last week was fantastic with Zach Levatan, And we're very proud of our B'nai Mitzvah that have fulfilled their obligation and entered the covenant in this last couple of weeks. Leitraot and Shabbat Shalom.